Hello everyone. So today I'm back again with my another presentation, which is part three of this presentation, where I'll be explaining you the do and don'ts while making a presentation. I know a lot of you might be wondering what I'll be explaining. It's very simple, yet it's very powerful while building a presentation. What I believe is small things makes up and you tends to make up a lot of huge errors, so it's better to learn and correct the errors at the very initial stage instead of making mistakes when we are in a complex state, right? So today I'll be explaining you some of the things which you have to really consider while building the presentations. So here we go. Let's get started, guys. And I'm very excited, and I'm very sorry that I could not start making the presentation for you guys because I was quite busy a bit. But today this is like the part three, and I think this would be the last part. I'm not really sure. Maybe I would add some more, but for sure there would be something more exciting coming up. So if you guys want to learn bioinformatics with Shweta, with me, then you can sign up or maybe subscribe to this channel so that whenever I upload a new video you get a notification. And I'm also starting a new playlist which wherein I'll be explaining you all the bioinformatics related stuff, because I know there are a lot of things we really don't consider while studying bioinformatics. It's a huge topic, but I think it's important to consider all these small things so that we can maybe be a pro in that area. But I'm also not a pro, but I'm just learning, and maybe it would be helpful for you guys, whatever I know, to at least share and explain you, right? So let's get started. Okay, sorry. So here we go with the next slide. It's like a bit lag, pardon me for that, but yeah, things to consider, the do and don'ts, which I've already explained you in the previous video. If you haven't watched my previous video, please do consider watching it. I'll be uploading all the links in the description below. So yeah, so the do is always be consistent with the flow, font size, and sorry, just a sec, I need to check if my thing is working. All right, so I think my presentation just stopped for some reason, I'm not sure. So I'm just starting it again. I'm sorry for these technical issues, but yeah, let's keep learning. So there are a few things to consider while making a presentation. So the do and don'ts of really building a presentation, right? So, uh, something wrong again. Okay, here you go. All right. So what are the things to consider is, number one is the font size should be consistent. The font style should also be consistent. It should be easier to understand, and the flow of information should actually flow. So we really think that the flow of information is actually flowing, but unfortunately sometimes it doesn't flow. So I think it's better to understand the concept first. So of course you need to have a good flow of information. So understanding one slide, linking one slide to the another slide is very important. So you cannot just start with introduction and then go with of course if you are really about all the how to make a presentation like in a mediocre level, I think you would start with introduction and then the body part and then the conclusion, right? But sometimes what we mess up it in the body part, we just don't know what to add in. So I think flow of information is important, and that's the important thing to actually consider while making a presentation. And also you should be consistent. I'll be showing you all the do and don'ts in the later slides. Please stick to the end so that you understand all these things that I actually am trying to share with you guys, and I think it would be helpful for you guys too. And what are the don'ts is like, don't make it very confusing for the audience, to understand and read each and every lines. It's very difficult to actually focus everything at once. So I think you should make the audience or the viewers, whoever is viewing a presentation, they should not be confused. And then the second part is first understand and then you should deliver. Like first understand what are you trying to explain and then you should deliver that accordingly, right? And also please make sure to not have a longer sentences in your presentation, which would be very boring for the reader to actually read. And also it should not be very short, like, and I'm also gonna give some examples of these as well. Okay, so let's keep going. I think we are in a good flow. Okay, so this is what I have to explain you, and with the do and don'ts. Let's start how the slide would actually look while we actually try to build one. So yeah, let's get started. Um, there is some issue with my pointer. I'm not sure why. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So this is don't number one. Let's start with don'ts, right? So let's start with the don'ts, and then at the end I will be showing you how exactly it should really look, according to me. I think according to you it might change, but according to me, what I feel like it should be very formatting wise, styling wise, and also the flow of information, everything it should like look. I'll just explain you and give an example at the end, but let's start with the don't. Okay. So when we see the don't, if you can see on the left hand side where the blue, I don't know if it's like left for you, maybe, yeah, I think so, yeah, but for me it's left, right? So whenever it's in the left hand side of the video, I mean in the presentation, if you can see, there is an introduction, and the introduction is way like far far on the corner side, and if you see, the pattern is like not really um, it's not really like trying to capture your attention here, because the introduction is somewhere else, and the focus of your thing is just on that blue box, and the blue box is like just very darker blue, I would say. And also the introduction there is the text is also in black. So this is like one example which we tend to make, like when we try to make our presentation beautiful, but that's not beautiful at all, like it's very unprofessional if you see. And on the right hand side of mine, like I think it should be your two, I'm not sure, but yeah, if like the light blue color which I can represent, and if you can see there, although the the background is kind of lighter, but if you see, the text are invisible, we can't even see the text, right? This is one example of what we tend to make it to make, like we always try to make our slide beautiful, and when we try to make beautiful, we add up a lot of colors, and it tends up to be something like this. So this is one such examples which we should really avoid. Next is like vague and too long sentences, like this is like don't number two, like where we really write so many informations, like if you can see here, like all, I suppose, for instance, if I want to explain about machine learning, of course, and then it goes up with all the literally all the long text which we don't really want to write in here and explain, because it should be very in a bullet point, and it should be very crisp and clear, like what I believe is, I think it should be more, not more than 7 to 8 words, and it should make sense. It's not like you write just 7 to 8 sentences and it's like words, sorry, and it's not making sense. So that one, I will give an example on the next slide, which, but first focus on the long sentences, which we really don't need along this long sentences like this, right? And it's very difficult for the viewers to also like understand at one point, because your presentation will not be very very longer. It would be maximum, like if, for instance, if you're writing defending for a thesis, of course it will be like very longer, but if you are not and you are trying to explain some concept to your fellow mates or fellow friends, it would be very longer for them to really understand. Trust me. So make your sentences very small and make it like attractive to understand and view, right? The third one is this one what I was talking about. Although if we are using bullet points, but it is not making any sense. Learning from data, like what is machine learning? Learning from data, okay, part of AI. So I think like algorithm plus data is equal to prediction, like no one would understand really what exactly we are trying to explain here, and it is very short sentence. And again here, if you see, they are although giving you an advantage, but there is no disadvantage, the disadvantage is missing. There is one point. And also, if you clearly see there, the font size is also not in the Times New Roman, but I think it depends upon you what style you will be using. But also, it doesn't look really very, like, understandable when you write very short sentences, right? Also, it should make sense. I'm not telling you to make very short sentences, sorry, very short sentences with few words, and it is not making sense at all. I think that is one red flag, I would say, when we are actually building a presentation, right? And don't number four is avoid using wrong jargon. Sometimes we feel like, okay, we know everything. We know what is machine learning. We know what is supervised learning, what is unsupervised machine learning, right? But avoid using wrong jargons, and also avoid using jargons as much as possible. Even if you're using jargons, let the viewer. So, what is don't for is avoid using cartoon images. Like, whenever we try to explain something, we try to be very, like, we try to explain it in a very basic way, which makes sense. You need to explain them in a very basic and in a very, like, layman, like, terms. But it's not advisable to use, like, cartoon images like this. For instance, if you're trying to explain machine learning, don't really use cartoon images like this from, I don't know from which points, like data add-on or cartoon something. Don't really use words or, like, images like this. It looks really very unprofessional, and it's not how you actually try to, present, right? This is one thing which I notice, and I think we should avoid using cartoon images. Next is just a sec, it's taking some time, sorry. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, and then sometimes we also tend to use a very beautiful, like, background. Like, for instance, here, like, we are explaining something about, for instance, forest, right? We are trying to explain something about forest, and what I do is I take some random background, which makes sense that you are trying to explain something, okay, but doesn't mean that you would use like this, right? Something like, you don't have introduction. Suppose here, if you see the introduction doesn't have any place in here, and if you see the blue box is somewhere out there, in the introduction is not even visible, although it's written in black, but we don't even know where, how it looks like, and it doesn't make really sense, and it's not looking very professional, you know what I mean? So I think we should avoid certain things like that, and as much as possible we always should stick with the background as white. Okay, this is one thing which I always notice, and this is one such maybe unprofessional slide, I would say, which we always tend to make when we try to build a presentation. And at the end, I would give you how to really make a presentation and how to present. So let's get started. So firstly, we always have to have animation. Okay, always turn on your animation. Don't just give all the information at a go. Just hide the information and explain as you go. For instance, now I'm explaining you introduction, and then I'm talking about supervised machine learning, right? Now you can explain each one of these, what it is called, like, what is supervised machine learning, why it is called as supervised machine learning, what is input data, what is output data, right? And what are the tasks, like, supervised machine learning has tasks like classification, regression task, and also to just make the audience curious, just add some fun facts, something like that. And then also, while you add a machine learning, like, proper flow, workflow, try to add a relevant, like, image, and it should be from some papers. So it's very good if you can really make your own flow chart, but if you really don't have time, or if you don't find any, if you don't have any idea of how to build one, just go to Google, or maybe go to Google Scholar, PubMed. You will have a number of images, right? Just give your keywords properly, you'll have a lot of informations, and then from there you can take a reference. Always try to give your reference, because it's important to give credits to whoever the work that belongs to, right? So always try to give credits, and then this looks very professional according to me. I think this is how you should present, but of course it can be more better. But yeah, right now this is what I can see, because everything is properly arranged. I'm making sure that my font size is good, my background is white, I'm using the colors, it's very visible, the introduction is visible, supervised machine learning you all can see, You can also see the flow charts properly, right? Everything is in place, and also I've given a reference from where this paper, like from where this images is taken from, all the things at one go. So this is how you really make a presentation. So yeah. All right, guys, so if you have any questions, or if you are really interested to know how to make it, maybe you can comment down below. If you have anything that I missed, that would be really great. I can also learn from you guys. Yeah, it's